Hello, hello, and welcome everybody. We're on episode 10. Wow, we're reaching double figures. And as usual, I'm here with my beautiful friends and colleagues, Rachel and Kim. And we are going to kick off straight away with a question that came to me this morning, and it goes as follows. So whoever's going to go first, Rachel or Kim, I don't mind. This is for both of you. is Who is one person that has influenced the way you work with dogs or people, animals, plants, whatever it is, the way that you work and what you teach and share and how you do that? Who is one person? I'm sure there's many, but who's one person that stands out that has positively influenced your work and the way you do things?
I'm so torn on this question because you're right. It's really hard to say just one person.
Yes.
I mean, so I am going to break the rules and probably bring
Yeah.
in another person because when you ask the question, the most obvious one for me is Caroline Ingraham. I mean, it's just a total no-brainer because when I met her, I felt like I'd come home when she came. So Caroline Ingraham, for context, pioneered the approach of applied zoo pharmacognosy, aka animals having the innate ability to self-medicate on plants. So I came across her when I was training in dog behavior with Sheila Harper in 2011. And she came and ran a workshop with us. And she worked with a dog that had a bite history, had bitten, I think, pretty much everyone in the household. And she sat down with this dog and offered him different essential oils. And we all just watched this dog melt into the oils and completely lead the process. And as soon as she started talking, I just thought, this is so obvious. Well, like, why do I not know this already? Of course, whatever reason I didn't know it by that point. But so she absolutely has she changed the trajectory for me because when I did the training with her, it just felt like I'd been doing it for millennia. I'd been doing it forever. It just was so natural for me. So, and what I loved about Caroline also is not just that she brought zoo pharmacognosy into our awareness, but also I quite liked how, because she would have come up against it a lot, she comes up against a lot of pushback about whether animals can self-medicate. She comes up against a lot of pushback about cats and essential oils. So what I really love about her is that she really does her research through learning from the animals. So there is a backing, there's a science backing to a lot of it, but she really holds her own and speaks up about what she's observed, and which must have been quite scary, I'm sure, at times, people, especially potentially in the veterinary world, pushing back on this idea. So that, for me, it wasn't just her teachings, but it was the fact that she was pioneering her way and she put her head above the parapet, and that really inspired me on in lots of different ways. So yeah, she's the most obvious, biggest influence in my life thus far, but there are many others who I will spill through in this conversation because they can't not be mentioned, but I shall stop on that one. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah.
definitely gotta be unruly. You can break the
Yeah,
rules.
yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Told to give one, and I'm like, ooh, 4 maybe?
Oh, it's a great question, and I'm just gonna go all the way back to one of my very first, probably the pinnacle domino that started everything for me, and that would be, and it might sound strange, but it was Carolyn Mace. And
Yeah.
it was she I read her book sacred contracts, and I did all the work in it, and it was months and months of self-discovery, and it was probably one of the first times in my life I had ever stopped long enough to do that, and it changed me in ways that I never saw coming, and it gave me the courage to try things that scared the shit out of me,
Mm.
and I learned so much about myself, and it changed how I viewed the dogs, how I viewed myself. You start to learn you need to be the one that finds your own self-esteem.
Mm.
And until you do that, you're not gonna get very far. And I think, Rachel, you spoke to that with Caroline and the pushback. I mean, if you don't have that courage to be able to handle the pushback of people that don't agree with you, if it
Mm,
shuts you down,
mm,
and I mean, I'm a work in progress, but Carolyn's work was paramount to where I am today, and the courage, first of all, to leave my work. And I had a 29-year career, and I was doing the work with Carolyn Mason. I got to a point one day, I'm like, "All right, I'm done." And it was, it changed my life in the most beautiful way I can't even put into words. So,
Wow. Now you said now that I've heard Kim say what she is, there's so many different aspects of our lives that are influenced by different people, isn't it? So
mhm,
picking one is really difficult. I get it. But I'm gonna start certainly with paying respects for the passing of Sarah Fisher, which was announced today or yesterday at the time of this recording. One of the greatest, amazing, incredible teachers in our industry, in the dog industry, and further
mm,
on. She just was an incredible person, full stop. And I had the pleasure of meeting her twice. Once was on a live workshop that we did that she taught, and that was, I'll speak about that. That was a big turning point for me in my career. And I also got to meet her in person, and I just got to see what an incredibly compassionate and passionate person she is. And she did, with her beautiful ACE free work, she did actually a live demonstration at the workshop with this, and just watching her just beam and light
mm,
up as the dog worked, and did different things, and she picked up information and she was passing it on. It was just incredible. It was just beautiful to be in her presence and to see her passion for
mm,
dogs, and the amazing things that she has brought to light about dogs and about their well-being, about uh, the way they hold themselves, the way they do things, their body language in such a different way, a complete new perspective on body language, to find out more information, having that conversation, as she often used to say, having the conversation with the dog, back and forward. What is going on? How's this for you? All of those things. It's just, yeah. So I'm paying homage to her because she was
mm,
definitely a teacher in my career that has strongly influenced that, and I use a lot of what she has taught me. I teach and have passed that on to clients and use it still regularly. So definitely that. But I'm going to just pull back to the most um, influential time when it was the acing adolescence workshop that she held, and I attended that. And I had a couple of adolescent dogs who were clients of mine at the moment at the time. And although I had all the knowledge and experience from dog training and behavior understanding and my own experience with my own dog, these dogs were challenging their people, and they were challenging me to find ways to really support them in a way that they needed to be supported. And Sarah's perspective on adolescent dogs was just mind blowing and sent me on a whole new trajectory to understanding what adolescence actually means, not only for dogs, but for all animals and for humans, and completely putting a different spin on it, because we know that adolescence can be the most challenging time in our lives and in our dogs' lives. But when we understand it, and not just understand from a knowledge point of view, but a individual experience point of view, it's just such a powerful thing. And it just makes way for so much empathy when we are supporting these dogs, and knowing that there's no such thing, it comes back to that. There is no one size fits all and no quick fixes. It's a phase, and it's a important phase, a vitally important phase of life. And the more space we can give the dogs during that time and more understanding, the easier it is for the transition for both the dog parent. I'm going to use parent in this instance because it definitely is like parenting a teenager, right? And it's just such a misunderstood phase of life, and yet such a potent, powerful one. So yeah, that's certainly influenced the way that I support other guardians with their adolescent dogs and my own adolescent children.
And our inner adolescent.
Yes, exactly.
Amen to that.
Exactly.
Gosh, yes. I mean, I didn't ever work with Sarah through free work, but I did attend a couple of workshops at Tilly Farm with her, and met her many moons ago at Battersea, and just remember, I mean, when she just walked into a room, she just had this presence that you noticed. And it was a warmth, a confidence, there was, when you just meet someone, you're like, oh, I know I need to learn stuff from you. She had that energy about her, didn't she? But I think before jumping on the call, what I really love about people that step up and teach, because they can't not teach, what they can't not share it, is that non-attachment to what the person then does with it next.
Yes.
We were talking
Yes.
about so when I teach my mentees, I know that I'm not creating, it's not a cookie cutter approach. I'm not saying this is what you should do, these are the ABCs. I know that they will take parts of it and leave parts behind, so they can then create their own and take their own path with it. And I think this is it's difficult stepping up and sharing if it's not something you're used to doing, because of all the stuff it can bring up, our fears about being judged or being thought that you don't know anything or whatever it is. But the ripple effect it has is gorgeous, and you just never know who is listening. You never know who's going to resonate with your version of a message. Because there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's an awful analogy. But when when you've got, say, one dog in a room and 20 people observing that dog, they'll all get something different from observing that dog, and then they will all take that. So it's all, whether you're a big voice or a small voice, it all has its place. And I think many moons ago when I was in dog behavior, dog behavior I think was probably just the starting point for me. I found there was a lot of rigidity. We talked about this, haven't we? About this is the right way and this is the wrong way. Well, maybe it's just a way to, a way that works for you in that moment. And then you may take something from someone else. That's why it's so hard to pick one person. So I'm going to bring in one other person that's been really pivotal, and it's Kathy Skipper, who, and I don't know what label to give her really. I want to say she's a herbalist, but she's so much more than that. And when I finished training with Caroline Ingraham and started running workshops, I kind of felt like I was only working at one level. Like I really understood the dogs, but I didn't really understand the plants, and I didn't understand my relationship with the plants. So Kathy Skipper really opened my mind and my heart and my body to the energy of connecting with the plants and just as beings, as intelligent beings. And that completely changed the way I work in zoopharmacognosy, because I realized that I was using the essential oils kind of like as these inanimate objects. I wasn't recognizing them as living beings. So that really changed everything for me, was going to New Mexico with Kathy Skipper and doing her aromagnosis training, as it was called then, and really embodying what the aromatics brought up for me, what the plants brought up for me, which was messy. But it was, yeah, it was powerful, and it makes you more empathetic to being the dog. Because otherwise you are just observing with your eyes, you are just looking with that one sense. But when you start to get more into your body and start to get more aware of your body and how you are receiving things and how you process stuff, you then, I don't know, you can feel it better with the animals, with the dog.
I I think that's such a great point, man. Kathy's Atars is her oil company, and they're
Yeah.
exquisite. The oils are just exquisite,
Mm.
and I I love what you said about the ripples and looking at an oil as an inanimate object, because both of you have been an influence for me in how I work with plants and animals, and so I would name you both as
Ditto.
influential in my
Yeah.
life.
Ditto.
But learning how to listen to the plants and realize that they're speaking to you, I mean, it's Rachel, when we worked with you, and I've said it before, but it's just true, it taught me to listen with other parts of myself, not just see with my eyes, not just hear with my ears, but to feel with my body. The energetic changes that happen when you open a bottle of an essential oil. I mean, does it make you contract and like you put it away and I don't want that? Does it really just open you up and you would shout your deepest secrets to the world? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean and I think when you work with plants and you work with animals and you start to encompass and bring all of that together, then you're not just a dog person or a cat person, you're a nature person and you're a life person. And you start to realize there's so much information that we don't know, that you just open yourself to absorbing all of it and not discounting any of it. And even if you don't, quote, air quotes, like an oil, oh, that's off-putting to me. That's great information. And it doesn't mean it's trash. It just means that it's not resonant for you today. So nothing that you study, whether you think someone doesn't know what they're talking about, again, air quotes, I think it's just important information to say that's not for me today. And there's a different way that we can handle that rather than dismissing it or hating it or putting out the bad, like, language that sort of negates someone's hard work. You know, I mean, I'm writing a novel and I'm hooking up with different authors, and I don't understand bad reviews on books. People talk a lot about that. You know, somebody puts their soul into writing a novel and somebody trashes it. And I'm like, I mean, it's an interesting energy, isn't it? Because I have a hard time with that. It's going to happen. I mean, so you have to get there. But if you don't like it, just not for you. I mean, I don't love lima beans.
Good for you, Kim.
I don't think they're
Oh,
terrible, like, ew, lima beans, they shouldn't exist, I mean, I
but
just don't eat them.
doesn't this just come back to all the intolerance as well? And just picking up a little bit of what you said earlier, Rachel, is about, the pioneers of any in any field are those who have gone outside the box, thought outside the box, and gone and done their own research, because there is no research to follow. So they had to go and find it out for themselves and put it into action and to try it out and experiment and do what they need to in order to. And I'm sure that 1,000 times, what was that quote? I think it was one of somebody like Alexander Bell or somebody, failed 1,000 times. And he said, I never failed. I just learned from each time. And it's, this, we grow up in a society that tells us it's right or wrong. It's in this book, and so you have to believe it because that's what you learned at school or at a university, etc. And we discount all the, some of the, like you said, the people who go out there and just try it out themselves because it's never been done before. And I think this is where people like the people we're mentioning here have got that. They've gone out, they're visionaries. They've gone out and they've had the courage to stand up and say their truth and, get pointed at and shunned and all sorts of the things because they believe in their truth and they have made it their life's work to evolve that and to keep learning and to keep discovering. I mean, that was one of the things that just amazed me about Sarah. She just knew so much, and yet she just kept saying, oh, I just can't stop learning from the dogs. I could just, there was just always something new that she was learning, all the time. So I just want to throw that in because I think that's part of what you're saying there as well, Kim, is that we don't give each other credit for experiencing ourself and using our own self and discovering our own truth, really, from what nobody's original. Let's face it, nobody's 100% original. We've all taken bits and pieces from whatever courses or books or understanding, etc. And like you said, Rachel, we put it into our way of expressing it and teaching it. And it may resonate with somebody, it may not resonate with somebody else. That does not mean it's right or wrong. It just means that we have the courage to show up and share it in a way that feels right and true for us today. And that could change tomorrow. Once we have more information, that could change again. But it's that, it grows at this tolerance, and it grows this tolerance for us. It grows tolerance for our dog's individual experience. And it grows tolerance for others as well, not to say that they're right and we're wrong. Why is it that humans love to be right all the time?
Well, and so I have a question
That's a good
for you.
question.
I have a question for you guys, because like Sue, what you said, it makes so much sense, and it is true what I was saying, and it plays off, Rachel, everything that you said also. But have either of you ever hung on to something related to the way you work, or maybe a modality that you teach, and it's not resonating with you, but you hang on to it longer than you should because you think you start comparing yourself to other people? I should be doing this. I haven't given it a chance, whatever the reasoning might be. Rather than like these people like Belle who fail 1,000 times, right? And they tweak and they tweak and they tweak. For some reason in today's world, that feels like you should read the book and follow the recipe.
I feel like naturally growing up, I was a conformist, even though I would witness rebellion in both of my parents. I would have sought feedback that I was a conformist, that I was following the rules. I would have not been anything but a rule breaker growing up until I guess it became uncomfortable to follow the rules because it's like being a peacekeeper, isn't it? Or you're trying to keep the peace for other people, but you've got an inner turmoil. So I feel like, I don't know where I'm going with this one, but I feel like it's over time as I've started to follow the breadcrumbs and follow the things that I love doing, I've become a bit more of a natural rebel and a more of a rule breaker and been more, what's the word? Free with the way I approach and understanding that if someone does give me feedback that's really uncomfortable, that maybe part of me does actually feel is lacking in confidence or wants to a change in direction. I kind of, yeah. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that one, but I feel I've got more of a rebel as I've got older. So I think some people are naturally born rebels.
Mm.
Some people naturally have that confidence and they actually really like messing shit up. But I think my personal growth was I was very much oh okay, yes. I'm easily led. I would be easily led. Whereas now I'm like, nah, I want to do it my way. But I don't know whether that's come with age or whether that's come with just challenges that have forced that part of me out. Whereas now I am the person that will poke the bear, that will question the rhetoric, that will say the opposite of what everyone else is saying just because I love that. I
You love
enjoy it.
you love the you love the
Well,
you love what comes out of that when you do it.
I do. I love creating the chaos to see what the outcome is of it.
Yeah,
I like
brilliant.
stirring the pot, not in a mean way, just in a like, let's see what comes out of this one. Um, so I think over time I've got better at pivoting more quickly with stuff. I don't know if that was a question, but that's my version of
It was a question, and that was a great answer. And you poke the bear, and then you stand there with your little notebook and write things down.
Let's observe and with curiosity and see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, I think great question, Kim, and I certainly, like Rachel, I think, I would say over the last 10 years and maybe, no, 5 years, I would say that I am much more confident in speaking my truth as opposed to just going with, the flow and simply to conform because it feels easy and it feels the right thing to do. So especially with with behavior science, as we learn it, dog behavior, you learn it as a science and it's backed by science and it's backed by all this blah 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 evidence, etc. And there's certainly validity to it, and there's certainly great information that comes with that. But for me, it was I wanted to blend the woo and the science together.
Mhm.
For me, it not had to be, but it felt right for me to blend the two together. And for a long time, I fought against that because so many times I heard, well, if you can't prove it and it's not science, then it's bullshit, and and I had sort of kind of had a fear of, well, what happens if I do it the wrong way and
Mm.
somebody doesn't get the results that they want, or even worse still, that somebody gets hurt because I'm saying you don't have to do it the scientific way. Like, this is a behavior plan. Here's the ABC, follow this regiment to the book and you'll be okay. I wanted to bring in some of the energetics. I wanted to bring in some of um, the like sacred contracts that Carolyn Mace was talking about, or bringing in our own personalities and the integration of two different energies, being you and your dog, etc. So it was hard for me to actually say this is what I do because of the fear of people saying, well, then you don't know what you're talking about because it has to be backed by science.
Mm.
Mm.
Um, and I think this is across the board. We're seeing it more and more now that it is starting to integrate more. And I think going forward, we're going to see this explode in a way that I hope anyway, where people do see that it doesn't have to necessarily be backed by science, because even science is not always right.
Mm.
Well, that's
Or
go.
science is. I think we've interpreted science to a long way, because science should be an ongoing study and
Yeah.
curiosity. It shouldn't be, well, it's fixed in stone and this is what it is until we prove differently. It
Mm.
should be constantly questioning and asking more, and what else is
Mm.
possible.
Yeah, I mean, Sue, it's brilliant, and I love that because at what point, like when I was in school, science was theories and hypotheses. It was always experimental. It was never fact.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, I mean, doctors have a practice, right? I mean, because they're
Yeah.
constantly evolving and medicine is constantly evolving. And I think you brought up a great point. And Rachel, I love like the way that you use the word free, because that's really what it is when you can free yourself from that stigma that you have to stick it out or try harder or you haven't given it enough time. What is enough time? Sometimes you do something for 3 seconds and you know that's like just enough time. And I was a conformist, I mean, rule follower extraordinaire. I prided myself on following rules. I never wanted to be in trouble.
Same.
So it was like, I mean, bullied at school and you're a square, and it's true, I was, and at some point that all shifted, but it's still a work in progress. And I would tell you that what started to change me was our dog Django. When he reacted to his rabies, and I went to trainer after trainer, and it was all kinds of trainers, and then we found Kathy Kowalik, who was a partnership coach, and it resonated so strongly with me, and she would be another influential person for
Mm.
me. And I followed her teachings, became a certified coach, and this beautiful, beautiful dog Django just said, "Nope, I'm not conforming to that. I am my own person and you will figure it out." And I'll never forget when I was trying to, we were working on, I mean, call it a recall because that's going to be something that everyone knows, but Kathy had her way of doing it. And no matter how hard I tried, he came within 3 feet of me and he would say, "Screw you," and he would be off. He would come from 10 acres away to 3 feet and I could never figure it out. And so you go by the book. And I know that I know how to learn. I was a great student and I love learning things. And he just taught me that there are no books and that life experience is everything.
Mm.
And so we read, we study, we are drawn to certain things, and then you take the bits and you take the pieces and you make you.
Mm. Life is one giant experiment, ultimately, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can start seeing it this way, yeah, I've had glimpses of it. I do get my days when I doubt it all. But for the most part now, I'm trying to actually live my life as mystery. So it's just whatever's coming into your life, whatever's showing up for you. Just get curious and find what is it all about? What can I learn from this? What can I feel from this? What can I explore about this? Because we do, like you said, it's just an experiment. Try things. There's no such thing as failure. That was a big thing for me. I'm a student of the gene keys, and that's one of my gene keys is failure. And I used to
Mm,
really believe that I had failed at so many different things because, like you said earlier, Kim, I haven't stuck to it long enough, or I hadn't become successful in it, or whatever it was. And so often I felt like a failure. And then, to understand what failure is, there is no such thing as
mm,
failure. It's
mm-mm,
Mm-mm.
just
Mm-mm.
something that it's the way we perceive it or the way we term it or give it a label, but there is no such thing. Everything,
Mm-mm.
like you said, is an experiment. It's a trial. It's a cause and effect, and and then you move on from that, and you move on from that. And when we
Mm.
start to see life like that, it really does become quite a fun game.
mm.
Not always fun. It can be pretty harsh. And I'm not saying it can't be, but it's still, like, in from that perspective, it's a game.
I'm just coming back to what you said, Kim, about how it was Django. And well, there's two things off that really. One thing, I think I've always enjoyed having a mentor, although actually right now I'd say you guys are my little mentors indirectly. But I've always had someone that's one step ahead of me to learn from. And I think that's, for some one, it might be their mum or like an older brother or a best friend, or it could be someone in your industry, or I don't know, like my friend Dennis Liam Murphy, author of The Blame Game. He's been like one of the biggest mentors in my whole life, like a complete game changer. If you haven't heard of him, go and read his book. It's brilliant. So he completely taught me, turned everything around for me and how I was perceiving life. And but I needed to have someone to guide me that had been through that to get to the next stage, to the next step. But coming back to Django, when I adopted Baxter from the Dogs Trust, I'd never had a dog with health issues or skin
Mm.
issues. And when we adopted him, we took him to the vets and they said, you know, you've got to do immunotherapy, steroids, and whatever else it was. And for whatever reason, I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to try something else. And it was the best thing I ever did for him and me. It was hard because I would have very much thought that vets were the oracles, that they absolutely
Mm,
everything had to go through the vets. And if the vets didn't approve, then it was nonsense, which is
mm,
bonkers, right? Vets are brilliant and they're great in their industry, but they're not the oracle for everything in the dog world. But I totally bought into that. Probably like no, actually, I was going to say like I would with Western medicine, but maybe not so much for me with as a human. But for dogs, I was like, the vets have the answer for everything. So it just was, it was really important, I think, for me at that stage, for me to attract a dog like Baxter, to help me stop being a conformist and to help me question those in authority, because I would have grown up like many thinking, respect your elders, respect those with titles, respect those in authority. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to agree with them or do what they say, but I would have thought that. So
mm,
it took someone like Baxter to really help me go against the grain and seek out other rebels, people that were doing it differently, like Chris Day, the homeopath, who's no longer with it, homeopathic vet, who was absolutely brilliant. I loved the bones off of that man, and he just completely changed how I, stopped vaccinating, started raw feeding, just questioned everything I'd
mm,
accepted as a truth. And but I needed allies around me to help me build my confidence, so I could see that
mm,
they were doing it, and I'm like, oh. And I think this is what is inspirational, isn't it? When we see other people doing things differently, and yeah, we don't know what they're going through, but we're seeing that they're doing it differently, and that's inspiring. And
very.
I guess I just, maybe I have always looked for those people. I loved Gorillas in the Mist.
Mm.
They're like, I loved all those things where it was a person just going fuck it to the system. Even though I was conforming at school, I was brilliant at school, I went to university, got good grades, did all of that, played the piano, I was literally did all those things. And then, but then it just, yeah. And I'm not saying that that's wrong what I did, that got to me to where I needed to be. But yeah, I feel having a mentor or having people that inspire you is really important.
Mm,
And not just in your own industry, it can be it's my mum, it's my dad, it's my brother,
mm,
it's my partner,
mm,
it's friends that, like, just having a conversation with a friend yesterday who's a bit of a rebel and she just completely does not follow the system at all. And I love it. Yeah.
Unruly.
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 No, I love that, Rachel. It's so true. We do. We do need people who inspire us. We do need people as allies that we can say that we don't feel so alone sometimes
Mm.
because we may be thinking thoughts or this sounds good, but that's scary. But if you see somebody else doing it, or you have somebody to talk it through with, or somebody who's been through that experience, I think it's very, very powerful and very comforting, I think, to have those mentors in your life. And like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be anybody to do with that specific thing. It could just be somebody that you know, that you trust, that you, feel comfortable sharing your truth with. And they, they're there to be your cheerleader and to say, yes, we're with you. Go on, go and explore, go and do this. So, yeah, so important to have those people in our lives.
I find the more you talk about the things that you think people might think crazy, and the more you just say it to someone, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I've thought that." I remember,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, right. In
Yes.
my early zoopharmacognosy days, when I hadn't even done my Reiki training or animal communication, but I'd bring in a little bit of woo, shall we say, and I'd say it to them kind of tentatively, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been practicing that for 20 years," and I'm like, "Oh my god." It's like, yeah. Anyway, I was just thinking, this is so off-piste, Sue. So, it's not off-piste, but it's on-piste. You you love science and woo combined. Well, your name is Sue.
Yeah. Freaking brilliant.
Oh, Rachel.
I was writing it down because anyway, I was like, of course you love the two.
Oh, that's brilliant. I've never even thought of that.
It's brilliant. You need to change how you spell it now, though.
Yes.
Swoo.
S-O-O, Sue. Sue.
Oh,
Oh
dear.
my God,
I'll
I
tell
love
you a
that.
very funny story. This is also very off-piste, but I think it's funny. When I first moved to Austria many years ago with my husband, and I had I was pregnant at the time, and I got myself a gynecologist, a lady gynecologist, and it was my first appointment. And my surname is Mim, M-I-M-M. So I walked in, I filled out the form or whatever, and I was in the waiting room, and I waited and waited, and eventually the lady doctor walks out, and she said, Sue Mim. And I put up my hand, and she sort of just brushed past me with her eyes and carried on looking through the people sitting there. And I'm like, well, didn't I just indicate that that's who I am? And I said, it's me. And she just looked at me in disbelief. And then she said to me afterwards, she said, I was expecting a little Asian woman with that name.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Still Mim. Oh dear.
I love that. What's in a name, eh?
Yeah. I did that. That was also a fun thing I did at one of my it was a little online course, and it was one of the lessons in there is like just rediscovering your dog's name. So if you named your dog's name, or if you did, why did you use that name? Because words have power, and they just especially if we are naming our dogs for a specific reason. So here's the next question, ladies, what did you name your dogs? Why did you name them that? Just let's pick one, otherwise we'll be here all night.
Oh, so I'll go with Darcy. So when we got her name was Dilly, but I felt you are not a Dilly. You are so a Darcy. And, I quite liked it because it was a little bit highbrow. It's quite, I felt there was a regalness to her, and I wanted her to have finer things. And when I looked it up, it also meant the dark one. I thought, I quite like that. I just thought it just seemed, I don't know, I just felt she needed a name that was not serious, but meant something. I don't know, I just liked it. Yeah. No more depth than that, I'm afraid.
And I'm going to throw an added question onto the top of that. As animal communicators, have you ever asked the animals if they like their name?
Not
That they've been
directly.
given.
Not. I think we do that though when we name our dogs, because I think that's the process of when we're playing with the name we're going to give them, and then we land on one and it feels right. I feel that's It's a collaboration.
Ah, okay, cool. I love that.
Yes. Perfect. I love that answer.
So really, I didn't give Darcy her name, she gave it to us,
Or
probably.
she agreed to it.
She agreed to it. Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Kim?
Well, I'll pick Zam because that's probably the longest it took us to ever name a dog, and we had her for almost 2 weeks. We were not planning on getting her. She ended up being dumped at our vet's, and we took our dogs in for a physical, and she crawled in my lap and put her little head on my chest, and we started fostering her. So she came home with us, and of course, we adopted her right away. We say she was a 16-year foster, but she came home with us and she didn't have a name, and we were trying to figure it out, and she walked into our house and she was an angel. She got on with the other 2 dogs. She was, "I'm good." And then she got comfortable. Couple days into it, and she started, getting into tiffs with our, girl. We had an Australian Shepherd that was a girl, and Sam's a cattle dog mix. And they started fighting, and I would have sworn that Zam was the instigator until I learned more. Now I was back, it was my other job. I wasn't studying dogs. We took them through basic obedience training, but we were just loved dogs. We also love Star Wars. And so her name was Zam Wessel, and we finally came upon a name on Valentine's Day because she was an angel and a devil, and an angel and a devil, and there's a character in one of the Star Wars films that's a bounty hunter named Zam Wessel, and she's a changeling bounty hunter.
Wow, that's cool.
So
That's
she's this
cool.
beautiful girl, and then she turns into "Arr!" and then she's this beautiful girl, and it just fit her. But it was so amazing because she was such a tomboy dog. So she really follows my path in, like everyone thought she was a boy, the way she carried herself. She lifted her leg when she peed. So Zam just sounded like this. It fit her like just to a T. So
What about you, Sue?
I'm going to actually go with one of my cats that I had many years
Oh.
ago. I got this beautiful cat for my birthday, and she was beautiful looking. She was a black and white cat, and she was like a princess. Although she wasn't an indoor cat, she loved to be mostly indoors, and she just liked the finer things in life. Anyway, one day she went off piste and went to the neighbors and came back pregnant and had a little litter of kittens, and I was allowed to keep one of the kittens. The rest had to find homes, and I was allowed to keep one. And we kept the runt of the litter, and it was a little black cat, and he was he was just a character. He was totally unruly, and I named him Pipsqueak because he was anything but a pipsqueak. But he loved his name. He used to come like a dog. You could recall him like a dog. And I also had I was horse riding then, and I had my own ponies. But at home, I used to build these little jumps in the garden, and Pipsqueak had to come and do the whole course with me. He had to jump jumps and go through all these obstacles and different things. And he was just a character. He just used to talk, and yeah, it was just amazing. But he was anything but a pipsqueak, but that's what we called him.
I love it.
Well, that's what I named him, Pipsqueak.
It's a memorable name, isn't it? Pip Squeak. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very descriptive, isn't it? Pip Squeaks.
He was a small cat actually, so he was little,
was a
but he was
pipsqueak.
just so much. What do you say when somebody's just so full of energy that they just fill the room when they enter it?
Yeah.
Charismatic.
Charismatic. Yeah, that's it.
So how many times do you call your dogs or cats by their real name versus a nickname?
Yes,
so true.
very. It's like that mother thing. Your mother only calls you your real name when she's cross with you. Then she calls you your full name, like Susan. Then you know you're big shit.
Pull out the middle name and you're toast.
Yes. So I think it's similar to my dogs. I call them their real names when I need their attention. Otherwise, they've all got their, yeah, nicknames, hundreds of them.
Gorgeous.
I do have to say, when Zam came, she was named Trina. And
Trina.
yeah, exactly. No. So
Wow.
yeah.
Funny, isn't
And then
it?
one more is this was Charlie. So my dog Charlie that we have now, which is, like, as you know, one of the big reasons why I stand here today as a trainer behaviorist, whatever you want to call it. But we had a dog before that in South Africa. He was also a rescue. I didn't know much about. I knew lots about animals, but not from a behavior science point of view then. Um, and it was a dog that was also called Charlie, and had very, I would say, similar in many ways to the Charlie we have now. And when we moved a couple of years then down the line, we moved to the UK, and we decided it was time to get another dog. There'd been many years in between where we hadn't had dogs, and we looked online, and it was kind of a family decision, but it was also one of the very first dogs that we saw. We saw a picture, we saw the name, and it was Charlie.
Mm.
And my husband swears that this is sort of a reincarnated version of the Charlie that we originally had. And I think that's not uncommon
Mm,
that something like that happens
Mm.
either.
mm,
It's almost like we had unfinished business
Mhm.
mm,
in with, to learn from. And so yeah, we've had two Charlies, and they've been both memorable characters that
mm.
yeah, interesting.
That's amazing. And isn't it like you see that and it's like there's just a spotlight on it. And
Mm,
you see the
mm,
spotlight and you're like, you just know.
mm,
And I mean, that's the universe, man. That's the attraction.
mm.
That's the woo.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love the woo. I love the science too, but I love the woo.
We love Sue.
We love Stu. Yeah. Swoo.
Um,
So what essential oils do you all have today?
ooh.
Well, I actually spilt rose.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. But it was Darcy was actually laying outside my office where I'd spilt it this morning. So, and she doesn't generally come. I don't get a sense that she particularly likes working with essential oils that much. I think very occasionally she might work with lemon or lavender, but she's not really an essential oil girl, particularly. But maybe she just likes it when I drop them, and she just hangs out in the area rather than it being from a bottle. But I've just wanted to be in the space with it all day. It's just so like marshmallowy, fluffy,
It
lovely.
is, isn't
The
it? It's just
hug
such
in a
a
bottle.
it really is such a gentle,
Mm,
comforting.
really is. Like you're all just wrapped in love.
Mm.
It really, Rose just is.
Mm.
Just things can just melt away. I love working with animals with Rose because it's, I don't know, I just feel like it can just hold. You know how we were talking about having someone that can hold you while you're going through difficult stuff or you're learning. I feel like the oils can do that too if you bring them in that way. And I feel like Rose, I mean, it's such a, oh, yeah, like just hold your hand.
Mm.
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 Rose can calm
I've
a room.
got I've got bergamot today,
Oh.
and it's one that is definitely one of my allies. I love it. I love it for so many different reasons. But something just dawned on me again right now is that the last couple of days, it was actually started off that somebody said to me, "Oh, have I got any Earl Grey tea at home?" And I said, "No, I
Mhm.
actually haven't had Earl Grey in ages, and it used to be one of my favorite teas." So I went out and bought myself a whole box of Earl Grey, and I've been having that. And Earl Grey, as we know, is with bergamot. So
Ooh.
isn't it interesting that I chose this oil today as well? So
Yeah.
definitely I needed it internally and a bit of a whiff externally as well. So it's doing its magic. Whatever it's doing its magic with me, and I'm loving it at the moment.
Did you just do a grab, like, and pull out bergamot? Nice.
I did. Well,
Ah.
no, when I say grab, I opened the box and I just looked at the color of the label. In fact, I didn't
Ah.
even read it because I didn't have my glasses on. And it was the color of the label. So it was this beautiful yellow
Mm.
that I had chosen. So isn't it interesting? Again, choose something that just feels right intuitively.
Mm. Did you intentionally grab Rose, or did it just
Well,
pop out at you?
she fell out, didn't she? She fell off. She spilled everywhere. So I thought I'm going to stay with her because she's surrounding me. Well, but I was dispensing it.
Oh,
I was
there you go.
dispensing the
Okay.
rose. That was I was dispensing. I was sending it out to a lady with horses.
Oh,
So yeah.
thought you had ghosts, spirits, just dispensing oils for you.
I mean, that'd be
Just,
brilliant, wouldn't it?
I'm just gonna open all the caps and throw them all over the place. Which one's gonna spill? I don't know.
Well, maybe who knows what knocked it out my hands?
Hmm.
Who knows?
That's a good one to knock out, though.
Yeah, it is. What about
Hmm.
you? What are you
Or
sniffing?
can you imagine if there was garlic essential oil or something?
Oh,
Oh man.
no thanks.
Oh, if it was galbanum essential oil, I'd be in tears for like just I'd have to like go stay in a hotel. I can't stay here. I just reached in, Django and I reached in and we grabbed out hemlock spruce.
Ooh,
I love that.
not
You
one
always
I
have really different
know. I
ones.
know, I
I
don't know
have
that one.
I love to experiment. And it's
Hemlock.
intense, but it's like that nice sprucey,
Mm.
bright, but then there's like a poke in it. That's like so it's very it's great for adrenals and like relaxing your adrenals and your stress and cough and respiratory things. So it's that time of the
Mm.
season, I guess.
Mm. Gorgeous.
It's beautiful smell. I mean, I actually
Mm.
enjoy it. The dogs were like right on the bottle when I took the cap off after I pulled it out of the box. So
Wow.
2 little noses right on the so I'll go down and off I shut them out for recording, but when I go downstairs, we'll see if they're interested.
Nice.
So, ladies, I think this is a wrap. I think we're coming to a beautiful close. Thank you to the oils for bringing in their energies. And we just, as you say, after the session, we can go and offer them to our dogs or anybody else in the family and see if anybody else wants to enjoy what's come forward for us. And
Yeah.
thank you again, ladies. As always, love you both. It's always so inspiring talking to both of you. And like we said after last time, after every call, we feel like we've grown and something different has shifted and
Mm.
changed because so I really just am so grateful for the two of you for being in my life and for this podcast that we get to just hang out and chat and have a great time. And hopefully people out there can take something away from it as well, find some bit of inspiration to do things their way and maybe
Mm.
unruly way.
Mm.
Yeah. And any final words, ladies?
I just want to say thank you to both of you, and it's a very inspiring conversation today,
Mm.
and taking away the bits that we love and that resonate, and honoring Sarah and all of the other people that have touched us
Mm.
is really good, and I love you both, and this is just quite the fun time. And it's
Mm.
December 30th when we're recording this, so it won't come out until 2026, which is
Yeah.
wild. But this is like it's a great episode to wind down, isn't it? To
Mm.
like just talk about our mentors at the end of 2025 here, and
Mm, mm.
I just have so
Yeah.
much fun with you guys. So thank you.
Yeah. Ditto, ditto. I always feel expanded after each episode.
Mm.
Yeah, and I've loved the honouring of the people that have brought us to where we are now. I think that's really important in this space in between Christmas and New Year. Gorgeous.
Perfect
Yeah.
time. All right, ladies, wishing you a beautiful, as we would say, as they say in German, a guten Rutsch, which means a good slide into the new year.
Oh,
Guten Rutsch.
I love that.
Guten Rutsch.
Have a good slide into the new year. Blessings to all of you, and we will see you next episode.
Tschüss.
Bye.
Tschüss, Rachel.
Tschüss.
Auf Wiedersehen.